Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Kathy. How's it going?
Real good. Um, for our audience, I just wanted to say why I invited you. It's because my Emmeline books are kind of like the Little House books, I've been told. The people who like Little House books also like my book. And so I thought my audience would like to meet you. I met Wendy through an author class, um, and I will let her introduce herself. Wendi Lou Lee.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Let's see. I guess my claim to fame is I was on Little House on the Prairie. I played the role of Baby Grace, and that really has been the way that I became an author. And it's one of the most incredible, amazing, fun things to do. I will say I do remember some things, but the funnest part is getting to be part of the cast now. And so it's just like a dream, honestly. Super, super fun. So I was on the show 4 seasons, season 5, 6, 7, and 8. So the last half of the original airing series, and I was Michael Landon's youngest daughter. And so that is that's me. I was on the show, and then shortly after the show ended, or actually after we were off of the show because the Ingalls family moved away from Walnut Grove, we did one commercial and then it didn't go so well. Well, we had fun, but my mom just couldn't believe how not cruel, but not really caring about us as people. Just they didn't care if we were hungry or tired. They didn't know our names. And that was so different than Little House. And so we did that one commercial, and my mom was like, we're done. So we graduated from, we said goodbye to acting, and we um, went to kindergarten. And that was the end of our acting career, and we were normal kids, grew up in a normal house family, and that was where it took me. We didn't have any contact with the cast for about 25 years
Oh,
until, yes, a really, really long time. We had moved away, and about, 25 years later, there was a reunion, and they got a hold of us, and we went and met up with the cast, and that is when we started traveling with the cast and going to events and reunions and all of that. And I say we because I shared the role with my twin sister, Brenda, and I couldn't have gotten the role without her. So thanks to Brenda for being my twin. So,
so
yeah.
so cast members. Of course, Michael Landon passed, um, sadly, but you still meet with who?
Well, most of them are the kids from the show,
Okay,
except
so
for
like
Ma, Karen Grassley. She's still alive. And Hersha Parody, she played Miss Scarvy. She's still alive. Charlotte Stewart, she played Miss Beadle. She is still alive. Um, and most of everyone else is the children on the show. So we are like the representatives now.
okay,
So Allison Arngrim, she played Nellie Olson. She's always there. And Dean Butler, he played Almanzo Wilder. He's always there. So yeah, there's a crew of probably about 10 to 12 of us that are usually at events, and then a couple who come here and there.
you're
So,
not going to be far from me sometime, but I'm going to be in an event myself, and I can't go there, unfortunately. You're coming to
what
the
if
middle of the country, aren't you? Or no?
what event is that?
I thought it was, maybe it's not you. Sorry. It might be the other girl that writes about Little House. There's Annette that I interviewed last month. She wrote about
Oh,
Little House, and
okay.
she's got an event coming.
Oh, fun. That's
Yeah,
great.
there's like a reunion for, maybe I should find out about it and let you know where it is. Yeah, it seems
Yeah.
like you should know. But anyway, sorry about that confusion.
Oh, no, it's
Um,
good.
so were you always interested in writing, or when did you kind of get the bug to write? And what made you write? What inspired you to do it?
Well, it's something that started out of necessity, not really desire. I had a brain tumor diagnosis, and I will say that I never wrote anything besides like a term paper and a thank you note until I got diagnosed with this brain tumor. And when something like that happens, there are a lot of people who want to know every single detail. And so I started a blog, and I never imagined that I would write. I wasn't really someone who was a tell all. And I will say, I think that the amount of medications that I was on really took out my filter. And I just really told everything that was going on during, the week and a half before my surgery and then the months after. And so I was writing in the hospital. I was writing the night before I went into surgery, and it was probably the most liberating thing I've ever done. I felt so free to express myself in a way that I'd never had before.
Huh.
And I
How old
called
were
my
you?
blog a journey of trust. And so it was really like, how am I going to get through this thing? And obviously, for me, being a believer, God was the only way that I was going to get through it. And so it was really about me realizing and and like surrendering to um this journey that God had put me on. So,
How old were you
yeah.
then?
38.
Mm.
Mhm. So I was just about 6 years ago. So, yeah. So, I will say it was not pretty writing at all. uh, but even after, 5.5 years of writing, my goal is never to sound good, but to just be vulnerable and raw and real. So I don't want to put on a show or present my best self, but like real life. So
Hmm.
yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your book that you did write.
Oh, sure. I wrote a book called A Prairie Devotional, and it was published with Thomas Nelson. And it's really a collection of stories from my life and the episodes of Little House on the Prairie. It's about the ups and downs of life and how God walks with us through every joy and every sorrow. So, yeah, every chapter focuses on a quote from one of the episodes. And then I just relate a story from my life to illustrate it and show the goodness of God. So,
That's cool.
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely for the Little House fan.
Uh,
If you know the shows and have watched the shows, you'll be like, oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. So it's really geared towards a Little House fan and someone who maybe wants to take just a little deeper of a step into the spiritual themes of the show.
mhm.
So,
And I
yeah,
was reading your blog on your website, and there's a lot of really good information there too on dealing with different things that we all have to deal with emotionally.
I
So
try to
I would
keep it
encourage
real.
anybody to look her
Yeah,
up.
I try to keep it real.
I
So,
mean, it's just pretty much your name. I'll put your website at the end so that
yeah,
people can check it out.
great.
Um,
That's
so,
great.
who would you say are probably the top, I don't know, however many people, mentors in your life? People that made
Mentors.
a difference.
Yeah, mentors in my life. I'd have to say my mom for sure. She has had a really hard life, and she always taught me and my sisters how to never give up and to persevere. And she has been a huge cheerleader in my writing. And especially when you're writing about things when you were really little,
Mhm.
I was on the phone with my mom, like, oh, I don't know, countless times. Okay, mom, tell me that story again. What exactly happened? And I couldn't have written that book without her and her just memories of trying to retell things that I was too young to remember. So, my mom for sure. I also had an incredible youth pastor who really walked with me as I started my young faith in our good God. So I'll never forget him either. But yeah.
Mhm. Okay. And I guess the brain cancer was a big event that affected your life. And of course the series. So the series and the brain tumor. Was there any other
Yes.
big event that you can think of other than those two? Those are huge.
Um,
Oh, you got married.
yeah, it wasn't brain cancer, just to let you know. It was a
Oh,
brain tumor, but it was benign, thank goodness. So, but it still was a huge event and really changed the trajectory of my life for
mhm,
sure. Um, the other thing is really being a twin is huge. Oh my goodness. Like
mhm.
the challenges of being a twin are, if anyone is a twin out there, you know there are wonderful things and then there are really, really hard things about being a twin. So, yeah, that I guess I would say that those are the major things that have gone on in my life. I also um, was with my stepdad when he had a heart attack and passed away, and that was really big too. I will say most of the really hard things in my life is where God has really worked on me the most, and that was huge.
Mhm.
It was really, really huge. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so what's next? What are you doing? What are you working on?
Well, I'm working on another book. I When I first started writing, I did my blog, and about 6 months after I had been writing on this blog, I was like, I don't want to be a blogger, and I was like, I'm going to stop.
Oh,
And
okay.
nothing against blogging. I just was like, I don't think I want to be a blogger. And I felt like the journey was kind of over. I didn't really want to like post what I was having for breakfast. And so I stopped writing and I really just felt like the life was kind of draining out of me. And I I just knew that God wanted me to keep writing. And so I started working on this book. And the first book that I thought I was going to write is the book that I'm actually writing now. I
Oh,
had no idea that the devotional would ultimately become my first book. And that all happened at a writers conference when if you've ever been to a writers conference, they say to have a back pocket project.
mhm.
Well, the devotional was my back pocket project. And I had a whole nother book that I was pitching and nobody was interested in that book. And then I met a publisher from HarperCollins, and she was a devotional publisher. And I said, "Oh, well, I actually have an idea for this devotional." And she said, "Oh my goodness, I want to publish that book." And she did. So that became the first book, really, because um, this other book just wasn't ready yet. And
Yeah.
so this next book that I'm working on is really about grace, and I'm calling it Big Time Grace. That's my working title. It's really just everyday stories of God's outrageous love. So, stories of grace, kind of taking the typical definition of grace and just blowing it out of the water and thinking about how God's grace comes in so many forms and just individual little stories and about grace. And then also some stories from other people too. So it's a real collection of big time grace stories. So I'm working on that right now. I'm really excited. My agent is like, two thumbs up, keep going, ready to start pitching it in, I don't know, a couple months or so. So
So
yeah.
might be out when? Next year? This year?
Oh no, not this year. It'd probably be,
Or
I don't know, a year
or
or
if it's
so.
the year after that even.
It just depends
Uh-huh.
if somebody picks it up or if I go a different route. So
Mhm.
we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what do you like to do for fun besides write?
Oh, well, my family and I just got home from a road trip to Colorado and we had a big family reunion with all my sisters and my mom. And um, I love seeing family. I love going on trips
Mhm.
anywhere. Especially, I love going to little house sites, the little house sites across the country just because it's super fun. But I also love to go paddleboarding in the beach, and I have an adorable Bernie Doodle puppy that goes almost everywhere with me. So those are my other pastimes. But
Well, good.
yeah.
Okay. Well, where can we get your books? Or this one book
You
anyway?
yeah, you can get a Prairie devotional really all the
Amazon.
typical places, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. If you go to my website, there is a list of all the other places, Christian book distributor and all those other ones that I can't remember all the names of. Yeah, so if you want to check that out,
Okay.
wendyloulee.com. It's pretty easy, and that's where you can get it. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.